After several long weeks of trying to get some traction here in New Hampshire, some Giuliani campaign staffers admit they're eager to head south to Florida already in search of warmer temperatures, not to mention voters.
Dogs lived in that White House over on Newark Avenue, just a backyard away from where they found the victim today. That said, for months they've been well known and feared by neighbors here on John Street.
So it's believed that just west of Tellers Point, right there, the boat hit a sandbar. And experts say when you hit a sandbar, you don't necessarily know you did.
All 11 break-ins here in the city of Rye have been during the daytime. Another common element, all of the homes and neighborhoods have been right next to the highways. The burglar or burglars looking for a quick getaway.
It's tough enough these days finding a new job. Now try fighting against the woman who works in the office next to you over here and the man who works in the office next to you over here, competing for the same job. Colleagues are now competitors in a shrinking marketplace.
It was a rude awakening for this little Bruin who'd spent nearly 3 hours wedged in a tree off Wyoming Avenue in Millburn before state biologist Mike Madonia went up in a cherry picker loaded for bear and pumped a tranquilizer dart into his backside. Barely 8 minutes later, with a half-dozen men holding tight to break his fall, he dropped about 40 feet into a net positioned under that white oak. He was knocked out by the tranquilizer, not the fall. Good news for the onlookers who'd watched his every move. He scratched, they smiled. He stretched, they gawked. He yawned, they snapped pictures. This little bear had been tagged last fall. Biologists checking him out tooth to toe determined that bigger males had probably run him out of his home range into Ruth and Peter Simmons' backyard.
I'm not sure whose backyard it is. I suspect from the bear's perspective, we've reduced its territory.
Well, pulling black bears out of urban settings has gotten pretty routine for state biologists and for journalists as well, though this is the first time I've actually gotten to touch one.
This may be the most painful sight on the water, pulling up to the gas pumps. Doug Tiedemann likes to go out about 3 times a week. Now,
we'll see how the gas prices will play a role in it, I'm sure. So
you can see probably cutting back if they keep going like this.
Yeah, either that or start, hopefully having friends that have, shallower pockets and longer arms. So
in Belmar, the fill-up bill for this cabin cruiser, a staggering $826.
Rudy Giuliani had to push his way through the crowds at his first event in Manchester this morning, but reporters outnumbered supporters. And Giuliani found himself answering many a question about his poor poll numbers here.
There's no question from the beginning of the campaign that we focused on the primaries coming up in late January and early February.
It's a source of anxiety for Giuliani's remaining New Hampshire fans. Why do you think he has sort of slipped in the polls here in New Hampshire?
That's a good question. I was just asking my partner that today. I don't know.
Well, the WNBC Marist poll found it might have been risky for Giuliani to invest so little in the early primary states and so much in later contests like the one in Florida. And to cap things off, those political hats that stayed off yesterday,
I put it back on today.
There were Army hats, Jews for McCain, hats from Maine, and the Texas section.
It says Liberty.
Speaking of liberty, wasn't your convention over a long time ago?
No, it's perennial.
The message tonight, their hats may be hard, but their heads aren't.
We're a big tent party.
A Christmas serenade for the most spectacular Christmas tree in the world. Josh Groban is one of a handful of performers rehearsing in the plaza this afternoon for the big show tonight. Natasha Bedingfield tested her latest single, Love Like This, with hip-hop star Sean Kingston. What do you think is so special about this tree?
Well, it's big, gigantic would be a good word for it. It's got lots of lights, and it's definitely a part of something to see when you're in New York. It's a part of what you think about when you think about New York at Christmas time.